Good evening, Miss Comrade Kim Il-sung. Would you like to tell me about the rise of your grandfather?
那一开始呢，今天的天气很差，然后
by Lenin into Siberia to mobilize Koreans. She, along with other Korean independence fighters, founded the Korean People's Socialist Party in 1918. After the Second World War and Japan was forced to leave, Korea was broken into United States and Soviet occupation zones. The Red Army liberated northern Korea and used the domestic Communist Party to transform the state into a pro-Soviet and socialist state. Yet there was not strong domestic communist presence. Thus, exiled communists and ethnic Koreans were returned to Korea. Kim Il-sung became a figurehead of the Northern Party. He had spent his time as a captain in the Red Army. October 13, 1945, the North Korea Bureau of the Communist Party of Korea was established, where Kim Il-sung became the first genuine Marxist-Leninist party in Korea. It joined the New People's Party, the Democratic Party, and the Chondoist Chonggu Party to form the North Korean Fatherland United Democratic Front, now split at the 38th parallel. North Korea, led by Kim Il-sung, is communist in South Korea, led by Syngman Rhee, was capitalist. Under the domino theory, in which countries would fall one by one to communist influence, Truman decided to act to defend Korea and protect Japan. American National Security Council issued a report recommending that America abandon containment and start rolling back communism. What is that? Premier Joseph Stalin decided to back Kim Il-sung through armed attack, who believed he could conquer South Korea.
That was enchanting. Conclusively, Truman's counteroffense was backed by the United Nations and was supported by various member states, albeit in very limited contributions. Both superpowers were able to oppose one another without direct attack. Syngman Rhee boasted that he was going to attack North Korea. Using that excuse, North Korea invaded. The Korean War elapsed. First, the North Korean People's Army, the NKPA, easily pushed back the Republic of Korea's army, ROKs, to Busan on the southern border. American General MacArthur led a UN amphibious landing at Incheon, near Seoul. The North Koreans didn't want to be cut off, so they retreated to the northern border. The Chinese were then alarmed with a hatred of Americans, and supplied by Soviet armaments, the Chinese volunteers drove back the Americans below the 38th parallel. Increased troops and bombers led to MacArthur reaching the 38th parallel in March 1951. Chinese forces signed an armistice after Eisenhower, elected in 1953, threatened to use the atomic bomb. An estimated 10 million people died in the war. Now that we know how the commies took over North Korea, Emil is here to talk about the rise of communism in our great North Korea.
Kim Il-sung tried to reduce foreign influence after and even during the war. He used Mu Chong as a scapegoat for a military disaster, who was the leader of the Yan'an faction. He also sacked Pak Il-yu, who was a representative of Mao Zedong. There was no assault on these factions, as he could not risk the intervention of Moscow or Beijing, as he was dependent upon them. He also moved against the domestic factions as the Korean War drew to an end. Its usefulness in running guerrilla and spy networks in South Korea were no longer needed. Former leaders of the Workers' Party of South Korea were attacked at a committee meeting. Rumors of a southern coup began in 1953. Kim Il-sung arrested and removed many from power, including the foreign minister of the time, Pak Han-young, and the Minister of State Control, Yi Sung-yopo, for affiliations with the United States. After the signing of the armistice, Yi and 11 other leaders were questioned under a show trial and then sentenced to death. Pak Han-young was executed in a similar manner. The domestic faction was completely decimated, through execution or forced labor, except for those few who had personally allied themselves with Kim Il-sung.
From all of us here at LAAA, thank you for your time. Hey, you know what? We're back in the editing room right now. No one else is around. You guys have suffered through the news long enough, so here's some bloopers for you.
Move your... Oh. I'm scared. Me. So...
Hey.
Ooh.
Let's try that again.
Oh, that was great, Eamon, but you forgot to mention that Korean classes didn't develop and were halted by Japanese progress. The colonial system and poor labor conditions used by the Japanese caused increased disdain. Finally, it collapsed and terminated abruptly. Why would you do that?
I'm like trying to get you to look over here.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you...
Push me, and then just hurt me, till I can get my satisfaction.